Hey everyone, this is Kieley Beaudry at Parkland Flower, and this is my toke off the joint.
Mike, what is going on? Give us some feedback. Give us some info. Give us some deets on that,
I got
wall right there.
Technically, this is going to be the second toke of the joint. Two
That's
episodes in. We got ourselves a new studio. We got tons of technically non-sponsored sponsors up on the wall. This episode is brought to you by this Kingsway sweater, this Pure Vita hat, and my licensed producer upstairs, Mateo, is wearing a Dutchie cap. Just want to tell you,
there we go.
This show is brought to you by the sweater and the hat and the stickers, not the weed, because that's probably illegal.
Whatever swag you got, we'll take it.
Yeah,
PO box in the comments.
Again, we want to welcome everybody back. Huge response that we got from the episode that aired 2 weeks ago with John Fowler. Again, I want to extend an amazing congrats to him and all his success since the show. I think they've sold out of the coins, but yeah, huge response from you guys out there for what we did. Definitely humbled and really excited for what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to be going over the same sort of format. We're going to be doing the 710 topics. We're going to do lots of banter, lots of tangents. We're going to bring in on an amazing woman who I got to know over the last couple of years in the space, only through her perseverance. We'll get into Kieley Beaudry, the CEO of Parkland Flower, a little bit later. We wanted to go over the topics. So, yeah, I mean, since the last 2 weeks that we did the show, I was telling Mateo I would have been super happy with like 50 views, and I think we got something like 430 views and 50
by the first weekend.
Yeah, so
nuts.
Definitely humbled by the response, and again, we look forward to doing some amazing shows. Whoa, I gotta put that on silent. So yeah, I guess let's just jump into it. We'll get right into the 710 topics.
Yeah, let me pull it up here in digital land.
So again, for anybody joining us again, or if you're new here to the joint, what we do is we open up the show with 7 to 10 topics that I found interesting over the last couple of weeks, create conversation, sort of bring a different aspect of view all over the map, sort of what's going on. So again, what we're going to be doing here, the first topic we're talking about again is recapping the first toke and the response that we got from you guys. Again, we have the link on all of our Twitter, all our social media. It's the joint. You can subscribe. Click the link, like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. We'll be uploading an episode, or what we call the toke of a joint, every second Friday for now, until we think that we're at a cadence to up it. We're going to be doing some fun stuff over the next couple of weeks. I know next week's guest is CEO of Green Street Agency out of LA, California, Rama Mayo, who's doing some amazing things. After that, we plan on doing a live show, I believe. Mateo's trying to tell me not to do a live show. I think I want to do a live show.
We got to do one.
Yeah, so we're going to do a live show. And I think I'm going to invite some different people from the industry, kick them out, throw them in. So that'll be on Friday, I believe. I don't know what the date is. It's the date after Rama's joint. And then we're going to wrap that up. We're going to wrap up the first 4 offerings with Dan Sachs, who's going to talk everything not weed. I plan to, again, try and run a couple of shows that are outside the box. I know Bitcoin right now, Dogecoin, the markets are going crazy. So again, outside of our box, try and create conversation, create interesting dialogue between people who know more than I do. And that's definitely something that I don't know a lot about. So again, really excited about what we got coming up. Yeah. Diving into the next topic, Clubhouse. What the fuck is Clubhouse? And I'm addicted. So, what the fuck is Clubhouse?
It's like an amalgamation of like Twitter, Snapchat, House Party, Zoom, and Facebook.
It's like horrible crack for someone like that has hyper ADHD like I do. It's like a Twitter feed with voices. I hate it and I love it all at the same time. I know I've been doing a little bit more pop-ins into some rooms. Shout out to Mel Ralston, who's been leading the charge. I know if you go to visit her Twitter, she's got something about a Discord server. Again, shit that I don't understand anything about, but I know there's a lot of attention over on Clubhouse. So
Is it a just for fun thing, or is it kind of like something you can include from like a business or like an asset kind of thing? What is it all
Clubhouse
about?
is a voice platform. It's like an amalgamation of every social media that you can imagine. It's like trade shows and rooms and platforms, and I'm doing a horrible explanation of it, but and the thing that's cool is it's invite only, so you can invite someone to jump on. But yeah, I know nothing and everything about it, and I hate it and I love it all at the same time. So Clubhouse,
but it's taken over.
Yeah, no clue.
Yeah.
Also, like $1 billion pre-IPO evaluation, which is another story for another day. But okay, something else that I really wanted to talk about, and I'm going to first of all put that on silent. We run it raw here. We run it raw. Run it raw. Okay, something that I want to talk about, one of the topics, and just let me bring up my sheet here. If you're not following David Brown on Twitter, on LinkedIn, it's a good idea to. He comes out with some amazing data, probably 2-3 times a day, and some numbers that he released, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, is that Health Canada says they've received a total number of 939 commercial cannabis license applications since October 17th, 2018. I can tell you that coming from a regulatory application consulting firm, I probably had a hand in about 150 of those. So yeah, what it basically means is that the market is flooded with still people that are waiting in line to add to the 592 license holders that there currently are in the market. And we'll post some, I think, Mateo, what we'll start doing is maybe posting some links to some of these stories that people can go and check out. But in a nutshell, 447 were submitted for micro class licenses, 37 were submitted for nurseries, 363 were submitted for standard licenses, and 92 were submitted for the sale of medical purposes. So needless to say, if you're filing an application today for any one of those, get in line. So interesting data with that to tie into the information that he released, I think it was 3 weeks ago, of the 1 billion grams that are sitting in oversupply. So yeah, it's going to be quite fun seeing how those come online in the next couple of years. Just to remind everybody, all you retailers, all you brands, February 5th, this Friday, the day the show airs, is OCS's first product call in the new framework, in the new sell-through model, which means they've gone from the open product model, open product call model, which means at any time you could pitch them on an idea or a SKU, to limiting those to 6 a year. And that goes back to the new business model of dropping about 200 SKUs. And so lots of changes going on with the OCS. So again, February 5th marks the first time that they're doing the open product call. The open product call that is timed 6 times a year. So look out for that. Something else that I wanted to touch on, some rather shitty news, is, what's not good for, I really don't even need to go to the story for this. I could speak off the cuff. What's really shitty for our industry on a whole is when Apple spoil the bunch. And listen, we exist in a box that is this framework that Health Canada has created. And last week we had 2 rather large recalls. Now, say what you want about the recalls, whether it was hardware, whether it was compliance, whatever it is, over 400,000 units or SKUs were pulled off the market between 2 LPs. So again, we'll post stories to that, and obviously everyone knows the news. It was Terracent, it was Hexo, some gummies, some vapes, and I believe since the press release actually came out, there's been some other SKUs that have been added to that. Again, we'll post the story to that. But again, it goes back to the fact that you can't cheat the system because it's so compliant, heavily regulated. Really interesting stat that came out also, I believe it was last week, is that Oregon wholesale flower topped $1,500 a pound, or $3.33 a gram USD for the first time in 4 years. So that's extremely interesting. Also, the market just surpassed $1 billion in 2020, their rec market. So again, this is the understanding of what another regulated market, how that plateaus and dips from the cost of wholesale flower. I believe that 2 or 3 years ago, a pound of Oregon weed was selling for like $50. Wholesale. There was, if you go through like 6,000 of my tweets back, there was a tweet that I took out. I was in Oregon with some people, and we had purchased $50. It Was it $50 pounds or $50 ounces? I don't know. It was dirt cheap. Anyways, they've come out of the gutter over the last 4 years, and pounds of wholesale flower is going for $1,500. So extremely encouraging for people that are in our market who are understanding, there's a lot of talk about the race to the bottom right now, and that you can buy good wholesale flower for like $1.15 a gram. And I'm talking 20 to 23%. It's there. Okay, up next, a big shout out to MATERIA Ventures, Deepak and Greg and Nick and Garbaz and the boys for achieving EU GMP status in their Deutschland MATERIA operations. Again, this is another big milestone from people that understand how to execute. That team is made up of regulatory and business development people, so it was only a matter of time before they achieved that. Now it's going to be interesting to see what do they do with it. And I, like everybody else, will sit back and watch. So again, big shout out to Deepak and MATERIA. I don't know if you guys have a hoodie or a hat, but we will take both, or a sticker for the wall. Up next. I also wanted to give a big shout out to Colin over at THC Dispensary in Vancouver, who launched the DANK review. They are doing some really interesting content around brands, around the dispensary. Really fun. You should check that out. Mateo, we should probably post a link. Click link and subscribe on their channel. Probably can doing some collabs coming up in the future. And like I said, we have some really interesting guests that are coming up over the next couple of weeks. Rama Mayo in 2 weeks. After Rama, we're going to go live. After live, we're going to go with Dan Sachs. And then who knows where we're going to go. Like I said, really excited for what the future holds for this. I really appreciate everybody watching. I know you're taking your time. We're going to try and keep it short, keep it tight. So without further ado, I want to make an intro to our second guest on the second show. She is someone that I've been following on social media probably since she handed in her application to cultivate cannabis on a micro scale. She is based out of Alberta. She is the female CEO of Parkland Flower. She is also, just let me bring up her bio here. She is president of the Alberta Cannabis Micro License Association. She's going to tell us a little bit about her business, a little bit about her struggles, a lot about her successes, because I think we can all learn a lot from what Kieley has done in the space. So without further ado, help me a warm welcome to the joint to take her toke, Kieley Beaudry. Kieley, welcome to the joint. How are you doing tonight?
I'm really good. Thanks, Mike, for having me.
Yeah, no, I did a sort of warm intro to you, and it's funny because the premise of this show was started with me being able to share stories with people that I'm really close to, and it's almost like I'm able to disarm them. And last week, we had John Fowler on, and this is somebody that I had worked up through the space. And I did a brief intro to you as somebody that I've kind of been following since you handed in your application. I'm pretty sure I even remember the tweet of you either mailing it or it was still in maybe even a paper. It was a paper submission, your application, right?
Submit. I hit
submit.
Hit submit. Yeah.
Right. So again, as somebody that I had followed from like initially from your application to you painting the logo on your floor to where you are now, which is a fully licensed micro cultivator, somebody that by following along with you understood and empathized with your determination, your struggles, your successes. So it's extremely interesting for me because as much as I know you is really just by following you. So there's I'm so excited to have you here and to really hear your story. And it was funny because when we saw you and brought you on, I was like, oh man, she's going to show up with the hat and the scrubs and the gloves. She's going to be coming right out of the facility. And, you're looking like unbelievable. It's just, I see all these pictures of you on the ground or you with the scrubs or you with the weeds. So, again, a super warm welcome. I'm really excited to hear your story. And, I don't want to disarm you. I want to make you feel comfortable and provide added value to people that, can empathize again with your story. And something that we covered before we started the show in our 7 to 10 topics was that, there's 900 applications in queue right now with Health Canada. And, those are 900 hopes, dreams, aspirations, business plans, applications, SOPs, humans behind there, construction facilities. And you're one of the 592 that sit on the other side that say, okay, I've made it past this. And making it past that is really the start.
Yeah,
So
it's like you're just getting to the starting line, actually. Like, I feel like I'm still at the starting line, to be honest. Like, we've been at it now for almost 6 months, and it's just every day there's something new. Like, every single day. Every single day, something else comes up where you're like, didn't expect that.
so it's like a
And
newborn baby. It's like a newborn.
exact.
Every day is
Oh gosh,
every
how many
day.
times? Like, I am a mom of three, so I totally liken my journey to the birth journey. And, just going through the application phase was definitely like, being pregnant, and just like you're uncomfortable and you're just waiting and you're like, when's it going to happen? I mean, the difference is that basically when it's going to happen when it's a baby, but
Right.
when it comes to dealing with Health Canada, you're at their whim, you're at their mercy, and it's going to come at some point.
That
But
waiting, the
yeah,
anticipation. It's like you said, when you click submit and you're like, okay, it's off. I've done what I can now. So it's almost like when you find out that you're pregnant. So, something that I like to do with people that I either work with or clients or potential clients is I always talk about like, how do you end up here? How do you end up February 2nd, a Tuesday night, 7:00 Eastern, talking to me? Like, tell us, a little bit about your journey and reverse engineer it. Like I said, you're listed on that website. You're one of the 592. You're revenue generating. You're in the facility all day. So how do you get here?
I mean, if you work it back, there's three of us. There's three partners. There's myself, my master grower, Dustin, who's been growing for 25 years. And then there's our investor, whose background is construction, no cannabis experience, but wanted a change and helped us fund. I'm also the other main investor. So this is a self-funded operation, which is an entire struggle in itself.
Right.
And yeah, we came together and started this journey. I love cannabis. I've been in the industry in the gray for quite a few years before embarking on this. And like I said, I'm a mom with three kids, and it gets tiring. It gets exhausting. Just the constant concern of like what could happen, even though everything you're doing is we were just basically making medicine for people,
Right.
and helping people and educating people, and being able to do it legally now is amazing. And
So
it's a
you're in the
huge honor.
illicit market from okay, so we'll work up to the
My-
application submission. So in like you're from like early conversations, you were doing topicals, something to do with palliative care. So you had this passion to heal.
My first patient was my father-in-law. Yeah, the first patient, he was diagnosed with glioblastoma. We started investigating cannabis. His oncologist said, if you want to have cannabis, find yourself a new oncologist.
And what year was
and
that?
2012.
Wow. So
Right?
it's not like in the 90s. This is
No,
like yesterday.
This
So
is like,
on the
like,
heels,
I mean,
ready
it's already
for
legal.
right,
Medical
right.
is legal.
MMAR,
Like,
correct. Yeah. Right.
yeah. So yeah, we had some friends that were part of a specific organization, let's say, and we were able to procure a large amount of cannabis, and we just went on the internet and started looking it up, and started making this medicine for him, and he
You
passed.
were making so you're buying wholesale bulk flower and making hip
Making
medicine.
all his, yeah, I was making, I made RSO, we made all kinds of different things. And he did pass, but it did certainly make a huge difference. He came off all his high blood pressure medication.
Right.
Like, there were so many other after effects. And then all of a sudden we started getting questions from other people. And then, a couple years later, and actually, this is a funny story. I was 6 months pregnant when this was all going on. Yeah. So here I am going to a liquor store to purchase, Everclear, like, 100, 95%
Proof
proof
alcohol.
that was edible,
Right.
that was, safe to use in a tincture, and getting dirty looks.
Right. With-
6 months pregnant.
Right.
Yeah, with fully looked pregnant.
Pumped out.
And then, my husband at the time, he was like, well, we'll just do it in the house. I'm like, we are not doing this in the house. We have to do this outside. So we got a hot plate. We did this whole setup. And here I am cooking Rick Simpson's oil in my backyard.
In a bathrobe. 6 months pregnant.
6 months pregnant.
In Edmonton.
In Edmonton, yeah. And I just looked at him and I'm just like, I feel like we're in an episode of Breaking Bad.
I'm in my head. I'm like, for sure. The Winnebago's out front. And
yeah.
So,
and I'm just cooking it up.
Okay, right. Nuts. And you did that for how? So from 2012 through trying to help your father-in-law.
So we did that up until 2014 when he passed, and then we we started making it for a few other family members. Then I started getting lots of questions, and then I got pregnant again, and I met my good friend Jill, and she was making topicals for compassion clubs out in Vancouver. So she was making them here in Edmonton. She had been making non-infused topicals for years and started making these topicals infused for one of her friends that had skin cancer. And this is where a lot of us start our journeys. It's always something to do with, a patient, someone in your life, and you either
connection,
become a caregiver. Right? Yeah. And that's where you get that connection to the plant. And so when we, so I was I was her head of production, manufacturing these topicals. And, we did that for quite a few years. At the same time, what I was doing, I had done a ton of MLMs. Let's say when I was, pregnant and raising my family, like I had done like Mary Kay and Pampered Chef.
Oh, okay, MLM, right? Yeah.
MLM,
okay.
Right? So like a multi-level marketing, like direct sales,
yeah,
right?
It's on magazines, door to door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. I did that for years, like always as a, while I was working, it was something I like the product or whatever. So I started doing the same thing with weed. So so
you would have a line and then get other people to sell you a line.
I had our line of topicals that I was selling. Then, our good friends over at Baked Edibles. I don't know if you're familiar with Baked Edibles. Actually, Dinah Leo, now Brandon just announced today that his gummies are out. I was ordering from them and quite a few other illicit or
in the
gray market
2014
folks.
To 2016 Vancouver, when it was like the hotbed of like fuck the government, fuck you with your
I was ordering products left, right, and center. I was ordering basically I was like a small distributor, and I was hosting parties like mom's
Tupperware parties.
Tupperware parties, exactly. Nice. But with weed.
And
I did that. That was, that's how I paid for Christmas gifts. Yeah. That's how I paid for gas. That's how I paid for groceries.
So you cut your teeth on illicit topical cannabis production.
I was like your at home.
Your Mary Kay weed.
I was your at home. It was actually Mary J.
Mary J. Sick.
I can't take credit. That's all. That was Jill.
So you did well. So you then hit something happened. So you did that 2014 to 20.
Well, I got introduced to Jill about 2016, and then
Jill is where now?
She's still here in Edmonton. Jill, she actually put out the very first infused THC topical, her compliance brand. She did that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's so we shut everything down pre-legalization, everything.
Right.
So right up until I think we shut down around July or August of 2018. 18 when legalization happened.
Yeah.
So we shut everything down because we knew like rec market Rec market was coming online.
Yeah.
Fines were hefty. You know, we were like, and our goal was we were going to get in. We were going to get into the legal market. We were talking to LPs. We were going to MJ Biz. We were going to all of these different conferences. Like I went to probably, I don't know, between 2017 and 2019, I went to maybe 50 or 60 conferences.
Yeah.
Like just to get a cannabis education. Like this is the legal market. Feeling so intimidated.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like
it's suits and it's a lot of money and it's the
I would go there and I'd almost
nuts.
come home crying because I was just like, there's no way we're going to be able to break into this industry.
And
like
you were going around with Jill at this time? You and Jill shopping around these shows going, hey,
Yep.
Mary J. And yeah. But
that was Mary J. was that little side hustle, but her brand was a different brand. It was Big Bliss Botanicals.
Oh yeah, I definitely Big Bliss Botanicals. Oh, here you go. Was the which is the cocoa cream butter in a silver can that you popped off, and they had an amazing logo. I think it was mountains on the.
Yep.
I know. I met you guys.
Beautiful.
Hold on. Here's the connection now that I know. I met you guys at the Alberta, the Calgary business cannabis business show, whatever. The
Cannabis Summit?
ever one. Yeah, the Cannabis Summit.
Yes.
CCI was there. It was one of the first times that
You were there. Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah,
You
it was
were
the
there.
First time that I kind of did like a solo.
Okay.
And I was telling people on stage, I was like, sell fucking rubber gloves. And people were like, what are you talking about? I was like, look, you don't need to be an LP. You don't need to be a brand. I was like, all these facilities in the next years will need fucking rubber gloves. Go fucking sell rubber gloves to them. Like, find your space. And I remember, anyways, it was a great show. But again, that was like the
Were you at Hexo?
No, I was CCI. CCI.
No, okay, you were CCI the whole time. Yeah, because Hexo was a big sponsor of that show. Yeah, that was one of my first cannabis shows.
Such a good show. So much fun.
It was such a good show, and I loved it because it was it was an introduction, but it was all speakers.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this big trade show floor. It was like you could really mingle and really great speakers. That's my favorite.
Yeah, and they let the accessories in there. I remember that was the show I met. What's his name? Brett Wilson, who was an investor in Tantalus.
Okay.
Yeah. I loved Calgary. I have lots of friends that live there. So again, this still goes back to the fact that like you're a classic story of you don't slip, trip, and become successful in this space. Had that connection to your father-in-law, and then see the benefit, and now monetize that knowledge. And so pre-legalization, you put this idea together, and you start to put the application together post October 17th.
Yeah, well, our first plan was to actually build build it from scratch out on Jill's land, and then we quickly changed course because it was quite rural, and so the electrical, trying to bring electrical in and things like that was hundreds of thousands of dollars. Nice. So we changed gears. Jill then decided, micro cultivation wasn't, she was basically planning to partner with someone who already was in the queue, which she did, which was amazing. I'm so super pleased that she got that out. And I ended up meeting Dustin and our grower.
The grower, right.
Yeah.
Who is like a 25-year grower who then comes from another grower who has 40 years. So that story of, from father to son, father to like the lineage of genetics of, it's every successful grower comes from another successful grower. Not a lot of the time. So talk a little bit about Dustin and what he brings to the table.
Dustin and I met through his sister-in-law. I was she's a photographer, and I was getting her to do product shoots for another brand we were putting out, which was Soak Life. And I just chatted with her, and I'm like, so do you know what these are for and whatever? And she's like, yeah, they're like bath products but with weed. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, my brother-in-law is like, he's been growing for years and wants to do a micro cultivation. And I'm like, give me his number.
Right.
And she's like, well, I'll text him first. I'm like, no, give me his number like right now.
Yeah.
And I
Where
met
does he
him.
live? Where does
Yeah,
he live?
where does he live? Like basically, and we literally just called him right then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to meet you.
Yeah.
And so we met like a day later,
Yeah, I do that.
and I was like, that's it. And then I think it was like probably 2 months after that, we incorporated our company, and Parkland Flower was born. And yeah, we've been hacking at this since we incorporated November 2018. So
Okay, so November 2018 is incorporated or submit the
when
application?
no, we didn't submit the application until November 2019. Because
Okay, so a full year to write the
Yeah.
application.
yeah, well, we were just starting. Well, when we had just started,
Oh, November 2019. That's like technically almost like last year.
yeah,
So, right.
no, well, the year before last.
No. I know. I'm just trying to think. Like I'm trying to think like where
Trying
I
to get
was.
the
I was
chronological.
I was getting ready to come back from California, and then I was in Vegas in December of 2019 because I launched my own thing. So you had submitted and then got listed. So your exact submission date was sometime in November, and then you got your license date was. You remember your date?
License date was August 14th, 2020.
So less than a year.
Less than a year.
You went 6 months, like 6-7 months, right?
November to August. Yeah, about 10. It was about 10 months.
So August 2020, right? Which is recent.
Yeah.
And I had this amazing misconception that you were pumping out like amazing craft flower, and then when we had we did a little full transparency. We did a little business development chat a little while ago, and you're like, no, bro, I'm pushing seeds, and I was like,
All seeds.
Oh. Yeah. So explain that.
We did two lots of flower.
Right.
We did. We put out 2 lots of flower. They're coming out in pre-rolls here
Pre-rolls.
very soon.
Yeah.
That was our intention when we first, started our business plan. But right before, and it's funny how serendipitous, right? Like shit in this industry works, right? It's just you were delayed for a reason, right?
Right.
And one of those reasons was we met and we partnered up with 2 breeders almost like within a month before our license. And we partnered with Next Generation Seeds. Not, back in the 90s started out, been breeding in Spain, all over Europe. And then they just moved back to Edmonton over the last couple of years and have been kind of having their home base here. And then another breeder that we are working with, his name is Ron Harrington, comes from Cali in Oregon, longtime breeder, and brought all his genetics aboard. And what we were really seeing is that there was a massive glut of flower on the market, but no one's doing seeds.
Right.
Like no one, and this is what I like to tell retailers is who do you think are the heaviest smokers in Canada?
Home growers.
Home growers.
Right.
And how are you going to bring them into your stores? To actually try some product is get them in there with genetics, get them in there with seeds, and like the whole industry is built on people that grew at home.
Right.
That started growing at home, really liked it, got good at it, or were desperate in that, they lost a job or they lost a child or they, these kinds of stories are where a lot of these growers come from. Mm-hmm. And they're doing a service for their communities. And, so we really feel like it's important to honor that. And, obviously we have to make a living at it as well.
Right.
So, and we have to also pay back all of the financing and everything we did to get to where we are. But it's
also it's also like a path of least resistance. Like you said, the market is flooded with flower, and it's only going to get more. So you're trying to get the attention of a select clientele, and then be able to diversify at a retail level. And I think what you do really well is you have empathy, right? And you have a connection, and I think it goes to the grassroots. I've heard this before, and I've said it like numerous times. It's through your greatest struggles come your greatest successes. And it's a testament to your story. You have the scars and wounds to prove where you are. You belong. Again, I think it's a great story. I wish you, enormous success. I can't wait to see what's going to be coming for you as you amend your licenses, as your company grows. I know we had some interesting conversations, and I think you're doing something that's really interesting, which I think is should be a metaphor and a tone that we should be setting for the space, which is surround yourself with like-minded people and kill the noise. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much going on right now, and to be graced with the ability to grow a business in a pandemic, I think that we have to be grateful every day that God has said cannabis is essential in terms of how it's viewed by governments that are at this point controlling what we're doing. So I can't tell you the amount of people that call me every day that, they're either losing a job or a business is going down. And then, here we are where sales are going through the roof and people are getting licensed and our machine keeps going. So again, bravo to you. I wish you nothing but success. I think that was a great interview. I think you have a great story, and I think we're gonna end this show with a tradition here on the second ever episode. It's something that we do called the 4x420 Marathon Questionnaire. You have 4 questions coming to you. You got 20 seconds to give me 4 answers. So hopefully you can understand all that math. I'm going to ask 4 questions. You have 20 seconds to give me 4 answers. They're off the cuff. So Kieley, can you tell me 4 of your favorite strains?
4 of my favorite strains. Number 1 is Fruity Pebbles. That's one of my favorites. We've crossed it with quite a few things. Number 2 is Red Congolese. I got introduced to that down at Emerald Cup. I just absolutely love that strain. Those are my 2 favorites. And then, 4 favorites. God, it's tough because the rest of them are like, Yeah. I'm a big sativa girl. So I really like, I really like the narrow drug cultivars, narrow leaf. So I'd have to say,
just pick 2.
Della Haze. I like the hazes and a grapefruit haze. I like a grapefruit haze all day, every day.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I got them all out.
There you go. Well, this is your show. This is your toke. You do what you want in your toke. Next question is, name 4 people you'd love to have a session with. Any 4 people, alive, dead, not existent, make them up. 4 people.
My mom and dad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I would love to toke with my mom and dad. I think that would be epic.
Nice.
They probably won't, but they might.
You never know.
I would like to toke with Michelle Obama.
Nice.
And I would also like to toke with, who I'd like to toke with and hopefully change her mind is Emily frickin' Murphy.
Emily Murphy.
Yeah, she is one of the pioneers of prohibition. And I'd like to sit that woman down and school her in why weed is good. And totally, because she literally led the charge in Canada for prohibition. She's got a whole women's movement on it. So
we had a great tie-in to John Fowler said something about having Rona Ambrose. So interesting crossover. You get those 2 people together. Kieley, what are your 4 favorite places in the world? They could be your bed or it could be like China.
Okay. My grandfather's house, sitting on his deck overlooking the Atlantic Ocean and watching whales. That's number 1. Number 2 would be the top of Grossmorn Mountain in Newfoundland as well.
My father would love to hear that.
Yeah. And the 3rd one is also in Newfoundland, but in Labrador, where I was born. And in Labrador is the Torngat Mountains. And I've never been. It's on one of my bucket lists. So I'm totally homesick now. And the 4th one would be Paris.
Nice.
That's where my daughter wants to go on her Make-A-Wish. So that's where, yeah.
And to end the 4 questions, this one, try and go quick because it's a deep one. If you want to accomplish 4 things in your lifetime, what do you want to accomplish?
I want to get a sales amendment.
There you go. Achievable.
Achievable. Yeah. So that's the easy one.
Yeah.
Right? No problem.
Yeah.
I'd like to speak on stage at MJ Biz.
There you go.
I
Achievable.
Achievable. I'd like to go into space. Might be achievable. Come on, Elon.
Yeah.
I want to go to space. I would like to go skydiving or base jumping.
Done.
There. Done.
Don't know Elon. I'm sure you can get on a plane and achieve all the rest. Sales amendment done. Yeah. Amazing stuff. Listen, that's the 4x420. Amazing answers to go along with an amazing interview. I can't wait to meet you in person at one of these shows, probably get you on stage at MJ Biz. We have some connections in the space. I'm sure Deepak can help out on that one. So again, join us every second Friday. We're going to be airing these shows at 8 p.m. I want to thank my amazing guest, Kieley Beaudry from Parkland Flower out in Edmonton, Alberta. I want to thank my licensed producer upstairs, Mateo. I want to thank everybody for watching. Again, if you want to throw something up on the wall, if you want to have us wear something, Mateo and I are walking billboards. We will walk it. We will talk it. We will wear it. We will publicize it, as long as it's not weed. Apparently that's illegal. So everyone, be safe. Again, and thanks for joining us. Our next episode will air February 19th, I believe, with Rama Mayo from Green Street Agency in Los Angeles. Be well, be safe. Good night, guys.